I'm sure everyone who is deep enough into One Piece theories and speculation has heard this theory about how Zoro is either from Wano or descended from Wano or is a secret member of the Shimotsuki clan. This is a really popular theory, and I've even heard people talk about this as if it's been confirmed. And that's pretty odd, since while I understand the reason people may think our favorite samurai-esque swordsman is from Wano, there's just no strong evidence backing it up. So what evidence do people point to when claiming Zoro is from Wano? Let me get the low-hanging fruit out of the way first. Episode 19 of the anime is Zoro's flashback, which opens up with a young Zoro staring down at Shimotsuki village. The implication that I and many others got when they first saw this scene is that Zoro was just some punk kid searching for a dojo to test his strength at and just sort of wandered into town. So then people will point to the fact that we really don't know where Zoro's hometown is to say that he's, what, from Wano? Well, as much as a leap as that already is, turns out that opening scene was only in the anime. In the manga, the flashback just opens up with Zoro already at the dojo getting beaten by Kuina. So for all intents and purposes, Shimotsuki Village is Zoro's hometown. But wait, you might say, that actually strengthens the case for Zoro being descended from Wano, specifically the Shimotsuki clan. Well, let's go over the history of Shimotsuki village. The Shimotsuki family was one of Wano's great daimyo families. 55 years ago, Shimotsuki Kozaburo illegally left Wano. He ended up in the East Blue, saved some villagers from bandits, fell in love and founded Shimotsuki village. He had a son, Koshiro, who in turn had a daughter, Kuina. All of this was disclosed in SBS Volume 96. The segment ends with Oda pretty much writing, "Oh, then could that mean Zoro's lineage?" Well, the story of Shimotsuki Kozaburo, the samurai who founded Shimotsuki village, is all I'm willing to share today. Now, that was pretty much teasing the reader about Zoro's family. Clearly he knew fans were speculating about Zoro's potential connection to Wano, but let's think about it for a second. What information were we given? Kozaburo had a son, and he in turn had a granddaughter. Unless he had some other kids, none of this points to Zoro being a Shimotsuki. Zoro actually met Kozaburo and referred to him as a geezer from the village. So if they're related, does that mean he doesn't even know his own grandfather? I mean, I could see that being true, but really the evidence doesn't point out that way. So yeah, even with all this information on Shimotsuki Kozaburo, I'm not convinced Zoro's a Shimotsuki. So what other evidence do people point to? Well, there's of course Shimotsuki Ushimaru. People say he looks like Zoro, but, I mean, no, that's just a silhouette of a guy. But I'll admit this silhouette does kind of look like Zoro, but that really doesn't prove anything at all. As we saw earlier, Oda knows that he's teasing fans about Zoro's lineage, so it's entirely possible that he drew Ushimaru that way just to tease fans. Plus, characters looking like one another is the worst evidence for these kinds of fan theories. Bonnie and Big Mom are related because they look the same. Killer is Sabo because they're both blonde. All these theories use one similar trait as evidence for characters being related. It's really not a smoking gun, but I will admit it is probably the best piece of evidence people have for this theory. And that's really not saying much. Okay, so Zoro isn't a Shimotsuki, but maybe his family came from Wano to the East Blue. Maybe, but there's just no evidence for that. And the SBS didn't mention Kozaburo taking anyone else with him on his voyage. It's totally possible that Zoro is descended from Wano, maybe even a Shimotsuki. I'm just saying all the evidence people currently use to back up these claims are inadequate. Even if you still believe that he's from Wano or that he's a Shimotsuki, please, do not talk about it like it's confirmed. So that makes me want to bring up another topic. Why is it that people believe in this theory if there's no evidence? Well, I think there's a couple of good reasons. Wano came right after Whole Cake Island, which was Sanji's arc, and revealed his parentage. Many people expected Wano to be Zoro's arc, and judging by recent events in the manga, I think that could be a pretty accurate statement. So since Sanji's parentage was explored in the previous arc, many people think Zoro's parentage will be explored in Wano. And well, it hasn't been so far. So, I mean, what would it add to the story if Zoro's secret lineage was revealed pretty much at the end of Wano? Would that really add that much to his character? I mean, Sanji's arc was all about the drama with his family, but Sanji had character reasons for that. Zoro, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would really care that much, so, I mean, Oda putting it in would just sort of be like extra flavoring to the story, really not adding anything to the character as a whole. It would pretty much just be superfluous background information. But for a lot of people, this would be, big news. It'd be good to talk about in theories, and a lot of the time, people really do value this kind of big plot twist kind of stuff just as much as they do character drama. So people probably just really want Zoro to be special and to have a secret lineage. I think it's safe to say that fans had the idea that Zoro was from Wano and looked for evidence backwards to prove it. That's not to say people weren't convinced by the evidence I showed. No, they really already had the preconceived ideas that Zoro was from Wano, and only looked for evidence, faulty evidence at that, which confirmed their already held beliefs. Pretty much it's just a whole bunch of people engaged in confirmation bias. Going back to Ushimaru, a big reason why people say he looked like Zoro is because they want him to look like Zoro. There's a wider conversation to be had about how confirmation bias affects the way people come up with fan theories, but maybe I'll go into that another day. So while I can't prove that Zoro's not from Wano, hopefully I convinced you that the evidence people use for claiming that he is faulty. But hey, this is One Piece, who knows what will happen? Let me know what you think. Did I change your mind, or do you think Zoro is still from Wano? I'd love to hear from you.